Hey guys, okay, today I'm going to talk about the relationship between science and philosophy and their approaches in explaining our existence. I decided to pick this topic because I personally am following a career that is more related to the science side of things. So I thought it was interesting to kind of use the knowledge that I've learned from this class and use the knowledge I've learned from my classes in school and compare the two together. I also think it's really interesting because a lot of people have debated this because there's the approach on philosophy, there's approach science, and then also later I'm kind of going to bring in religion as well. It wasn't a part of my original argument when I first wrote my midterm, but afterwards I felt that you can't really talk about our existence without including religion as well. So to start, I found that philosophy mainly decided to explain our existence through the use of just personal beliefs, personal experiences, and just kind of going on a leap of faith and what I think it is versus what you would think philosophy is. And science tends to be more I need to physically see it or be able to do experiments on all of that. Um, so yeah. Some of the philosophers that I use to kind of back up my research and my arguments were Plato and Hegel as well. Plato's beliefs were the perfect forms and how humans exist only as a shadow or reflection of perfection, and that we all exist together, but there's no way that we can all be perfect. And that's kind of just why we exist. We strive for this perfection, but you can never achieve it. And then, along with that theory, he believes that these perfect forms exist in an entirely different existence, kind of above our own, their own universe that we can never see, we can never achieve it because we'll never be that perfect form. And then Hegel's is sort of similar with the you'll never be able to see it or achieve it. Is that his theories tend to go along the lines of that our existence is contained inside a superior being's mind of sorts, and he often says that people tend to think of that superior being as God, so we exist within God himself. So obviously if we're inside their existence, we'll never be able to see it or prove it, which is kind of the exact opposite of science. And it's really why they contradict a lot with their ideas, because science is if I can't see it, it's not real. If I can't perform an experiment on it, there's no way to actually get proof that it's happened. So I can't believe it. Essentially it's the seeing is believing kind of mantra, and I tend to personally believe in that a lot. I have a hard time believing in something if I can't physically see it, which kind of sucks to say, but that's why I also like this argument, because I kind of tend to agree more on the science side of it with I believe our existence based on the facts and based on what I can see and why it happens this way. Contrary to the philosophers just saying, well, we exist because we have a perfect form we need to fit into. We exist because this superior being decided to create us, and we live inside of them. And that also kind of correlates to, which I'm going to talk about, I'm going to elaborate even more on my final paper now, because I think it's an important aspect to talk about, which is the religion. That I think the religion's argument falls a lot closer to philosophy's argument rather than science's, because religion is well, God created us, God wants us to exist this way and only this way. You kind of just have to put your faith in it and believe in him, which again science is well, I can't see God, you can't give me physical proof that God exists or anything like that. And then also another similarity between them that I saw was that when you're asking the questions of philosophy or scientific questions about life, they are asking very similar questions. Like they all both ask like, what is life? How did we get here? But then philosophy kind of takes it a step further and asks, why are we here? And religion also is like, well, why are we here? And I just think their approaches in answering these questions is what really, sets them apart from each other. So philosophy tries to answer those questions in a very, I'd say, like, spiritual way, where science is like, I'm going to answer it and I'm going to give you, this, and this, and that's like physical proof on, what life is and how we got here. Science, I feel like, can't really answer the question, why are we here? Because that one is a lot more like open into like interpretation, which is like a lot of like the basis of philosophy and religion as well. They're kind of like, what do you personally believe in? Create your own personal philosophy. There's not like a set of ground rules such as like science sets ground rules as. So overall, I just really think that the now three topics that I'm arguing, which is philosophy, science, and religion, all approach it being our existence, in very different ways. Kind of to each their own. Science goes more hard-based facts. What can I see? What can I show you? Like, what kind of proof? And then I feel like philosophy and religion are sort of down the same path as each other, whereas they both are like, well, what do you believe? You don't really have to give me any kind of proof to it, but I'll just like take your word for it, and compare it to other people's words. Um, they do share, like I said earlier, a couple similarities, but I really don't think they're enough to bring them really close together. I think that the three like categories are very different in all of their approaches and very unique. I think everybody has their own opinion on what they believe. Like I said earlier, I definitely am more believing in the science side of our existence because I like to have physical proof, but maybe you personally believe more in the philosophical view of our existence, how we got here, why we're here, and that sort of thing. I think the argument is very open to your own interpretation and your own opinions. And I really think that's really one of the reasons why I picked this to write about, because it's such an open-ended question, and I don't think we're really ever going to get, like a clear answer on our existence, because there's so many different ways that you can look at it, and there's just so many different ideas and theories behind it and there's really no way to completely rule out one theory to the other. Like, there's no way we can say, well, your philosophical view on life, that like we exist inside another like superior being, like there's no way to prove that it's wrong, even though there's also no way to prove that it's right. So we're kind of just always going to be arguing, each other's reasonings. So I really think it created such like an interesting argument because it's so open, and there's always like going to be a difference of opinions on it. So I really don't think we're ever going to get like a finalized like debate on our existence between science, and philosophy, and now religion as well. So yeah.